On this episode of MythBusters, Adam and Jamie go blind and then get blind drunk.
Who are you calling drunk, over?
As they test an intoxicating car caper from Hollywood. Can a blind person really drive without crashing?
We've got an actual blind person driving a car.
Then Carrie, Tori, and Grant take a swing and a myth at a golf trilogy. Can your shoes turn you into a lightning magnet? Is a tree really an impenetrable obstacle?
Fire at will!
And a la Caddyshack,
Okay, you want to play rough, little golfer?
can an underground explosion really sink a putt?
Boom, boom!
Who are the MythBusters? Adam Savage
I can't believe that this is my job.
and Jamie Heineman.
That's kind of intense.
Between them, more than 30 years of special effects experience.
Whoa!
Joining them,
We killed the ninja!
Tori Belleci,
All right, what's the plan?
Grant Imahara,
We're gonna be meat waffles, man.
and Carrie Byron.
Explosives and electricity.
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test. Fasten your seatbelts because blind driving peels out first.
What are you doing?
I'm driving blind.
Why?
Because it's our next myth.
Oh, you mean like in The Scent of a Woman?
It's like you're freaking psychic. That's awesome. Yes, where Al Pacino's character, who is blind, is able to drive a sports car by being given instructions from his passenger. That's what we're going to test.
Hoo-ah!
In Scent of a Woman, a blind driver takes a sports car for a high-speed spin. By responding to turn-by-turn instructions from his terrified, sighted passenger, they pull off the seemingly impossible. But can such teamwork really work?
I assume you have a plan.
I do, and it's a pretty simple one. I figure we need a blindfold, a car, and a closed course to drive on. I'll put on the blindfold and go wherever you tell me.
And can we take turns?
Absolutely. I think it's imperative that we both have a crack at it.
So let's get cracking. To try to recreate this highly hazardous driving technique in the real world, the guys are using a pedestrian-free zone.
The lovely people at the Alameda County Sheriff's Emergency Vehicle Operations Center have lent us their driving course. It is a blank slate. I'm going to set up a whole bunch of cones that will create our city streets for blind driving.
Jamie is going to play the blind driver first, so Adam sets up the course alone. This means that the mustachioed maestro won't have the advantage of knowing its twists and turns.
In setting up the course for our blind driver, I've tried to add all the obstacles that we see in the movie. So I'm starting out with a nice long get your bearings kind of straightaway. That also includes a sharp left-hand turn. Right after that, I've got a second sharp left-hand turn. And I've included an obstacle for Jamie to swerve around. This ought to be all the challenges we need for our blind driver.
And that just leaves the car, which for this test comes complete with in-car cameras, a driving instructor called Derek, and a crucial safety feature.
This car is specially rigged with controls so that he can hit his own set of brakes and stop the car in case I get frisky on him.
With frisky Jamie blinded by science,
A lovely color.
where does he see the problem areas of the course being?
Obviously, the straight bits are going to be the easiest ones. The problem areas are going to be the turns, exactly how far I turn and when. That's going to be tricky.
You feeling ready, champ?
Yeah, let's do it.
Just like in the movie, Jamie will be totally in the dark, relying solely on Adam's directions.
My role in this test, I am literally a backseat driver. I will be giving him all the stimulus, hopefully, he needs to drive this course correctly, although I don't expect him to. I foresee many, many knocked over cones.
Hoo-ha! It's time for ignition.
All right, Jamie, go forward. Just get your bearings. A little bit to the left, a little bit to the left. That's good.
Cruising at an easy pace down the straightaway, they come to their first bend in the road.
Okay, there's a turn coming up to the left. Excellent.
Made it with no cones down.
Straighten it out, straighten it out. Okay, pick up the speed. Let's pick up the speed.
But not for long.
Keep going, keep going. To the right, to the right, to the right. Now hard to the left. To the right, more to the right.
Soon their drive turns into a game of Cone Pac-Man.
More to the right. Okay, to the left, hard to the left. And then to the right. Beautiful. Okay, stop.
We need a new navigator.
Managing the course took a very different turn to what they thought.
How did I do?
Well, I gotta say, together we swerved around the cardboard obstacle perfectly. But it turns out the turns were easy. It was correcting for the straight driving that was more difficult. Right over there is the worst spot.
Like a couple of out-of-sync co-drivers, Adam blamed Jamie.
His ability to correct on the fly on the straightaways was pretty poor, even up to and including his ability to know left from right at times.
And Jamie blamed Adam.
You know, more is like what? You know, it's easy to get confused or not do something enough or too little.
If the guys don't begin to work as one, they're finished.
So Grant, what's with the sweater? Did you retire?
No, I'm not retiring yet. I'm merely appropriately dressed for our next series of myths.
Is the next series of myths about fashion disasters?
No. With over 60 million golfers around the world, it's no surprise that the website's been inundated with requests to do myths about golf. The first one is that a tree is 90% air.
Yeah, I've heard that one. And a lot of golfers say if your ball gets stuck behind a tree, instead of shooting around the tree, it's better to shoot through it because you have a 90% chance of getting through because it's 90% air.
Great. So all we need is a bucket of balls, some golf clubs, camp out behind a tree, see how many we hit through.
Sounds good to me.
From a distance, a tree may look like a solid, impenetrable object. But up close, there's a huge amount of space between its leaves. So huge that some golfers think you have a 90% chance of swinging clean through. To find out if this myth is all hot air, Team Tee-Off travels to one of the most famous golf courses in the world.
All right, let's do this.
Starting to feel a little underdressed. Where better to come than world-famous Pebble Beach? I mean, this is where Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods played, and now they're gonna let us play?
Yeah, I'm not sure they've seen the show. But with a world-class golf course, check. Some top-rate golf outfits, check. Now, the team just needs a tree. And this should do.
You know, the tree that we picked, it's a very average tree, and it's the kind of tree that you would try to play through, because when you look at it, you see that there is enough light, so you're thinking, I could get through this and actually play through to the next hole.
So, what's the plan, Tiger?
So to begin our initial research into this myth, we're each going to hit 10 golf balls into the tree and see if we can make it through.
And if 9 of those 10 do sail through, it's myth confirmed. Having played golf since high school, Tori's going to tee off first.
That thing is I find myself in this situation quite often when I'm playing golf.
First shot went like a shot, straight through the foliage.
Look at that.
Nice one.
See, normally I would have to shoot out into the fairway.
1 for 1.
I just cut the corner.
But shot 2 stops dead in its tracks.
I'm gonna have to say that one didn't make it through the tree.
So it's 1 apiece after 2. And after a montage of the other 8 balls, what's the final score?
So far, the score is 6 made it through, 2 went wacky, and 2 came back at us.
In other words, for Tori, the tree was 60% air. Can Carrie do any better?
So you want to stand there?
No.
Carrie quickly learns that in golf, no matter how bad your last shot was,
Oh! God.
your worst is yet to come.
Oh, no.
Of Carrie's 10, only 1 ball went towards the tree, and that was along the ground. But she's still better than Grant.
Strike one.
Yeah, Grant.
In golf speed, swinging and missing the ball is known as a whiff. So, his aim positively stinks.
Maybe you should take up tennis.
So far, our threesome has dug up plenty of dirt. But nearing a conclusion, they ain't.
Okay, well, this was not very scientific. Out of 30 balls, how many of them actually counted?
Yeah, not many. You know, we're gonna have to figure out a way to get these balls to go at a consistent speed, and we're gonna need to aim it at the tree so that way we get a good test.
The team had better get a grip. To solve this myth, they still have a fair way to go.
Let's try it again.
Buckle up, because Adam and Jamie are on a movie-inspired collision course. Apparently, a few simple instructions and a blind person can drive with ease. So far, on a closed track with Jamie steering blindfolded and Adam navigating,
Now, hard to the left.
it was a mess of miscommunication.
Okay, to the left, hard to the left. And then to the right. Okay, stop.
Now, to swap places. Driving gear on.
Okay, go ahead, Adam.
They start out good,
Doing good. Doing good.
but it's not long before things go bad.
Brake hard left. Too hard. Straighten it out.
If they were on a real street, Adam would now be up over the sidewalk
Hard left. Straighten it out. More.
and into the foyer of an office building.
Right. Right. Left. Okay, stop.
That was great.
Was it?
Man, you nailed that. Every single one of them.
Apparently, I did great. And by great, I mean I drove appallingly. Just about like what I'd expect a blind person to drive like.
Once again, Jamie believes Adam is at fault.
Adam did pretty much exactly what you would think he would do as a blind driver. In other words, he was erratic. Subtle controls. Adam doesn't drive that way normally, and he doesn't drive that way blind.
And Adam thinks Jamie is.
Honestly, I feel like he gave up a little too quickly.
Right.
Oh.
Right.
I could tell halfway through that he was kind of just like, left, right, you know.
The blind driver theory is looking like it's on the road to being busted. But the guys did confirm one thing. There's no I in team.
This is all about teamwork. It's not about the driver or the navigator. It's about how both of them are working together. They really have to get in sync for this to work.
So, shall we take it to the max?
We really need a blind guy.
I totally agree. No one will believe this is plausible until we get an actual blind guy in the driver's seat.
One of the most frustrating situations you can get in the sometimes infuriating game of golf is getting stuck behind a tree. To swing you out of the jungle,
Nice.
the team has been testing the myth that when blocked by a tree, you should try to shoot right through it.
I'm gonna have to say that one didn't make it through the tree.
The theory is that although a tree looks solid, 90% of its volume is air, meaning a ball will sail through 90% of the time. But so far, their golfing skills have been so bad that testing the myth has been impossible. And that means they're gonna need a plan B.
Oh!
I know, it's pretty obvious. In order to test this properly, we're gonna have to take ourselves out of the equation, which means only one thing.
We're getting Tiger Woods?
No, better! We're gonna build a robot! We're gonna build a machine that fires balls at the same speed and angle as a professional golfer. Then we shoot a really big sample size, like 100 balls, and see if they go through the tree 90% of the time.
What is it with you and these robots? Was that your like default button?
Yeah, it's like the control alt delete, really.
Grant's mantra in life is, if in doubt, build a robot. And he's got no doubt that his Robo-Golfer will give the best in the business a run for their money.
Not even Tiger Woods could shoot a golf ball in roughly the same area 100 times in a row, 200 times in a row to test this. So, I'm going to build a golf ball shooting cannon.
Using compressed air, Grant hopes to shoot balls through the barrel at the same velocity as a proficient human golfer. And that's something they figured out earlier. Before they left Pebble Beach, the team met pro golfer Laird Small to precisely analyze his swing.
How you doing? I'm Tori.
Tori, welcome to Spyglass Hill and Pebble Beach. Glad you're here.
Using the high-speed camera, they determined that when ball leaves club, it does so at around 150 miles an hour. So that's what Grant's aiming for.
It makes it look so easy.
Well, he is the pro. We don't want it to be superhuman to give it some advantage at getting through the tree.
Time to test its oomph. Dialed in at 40 PSI.
Here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
And what do you know? The ball shot out at 150 miles per hour, just like the real deal.
Now we know how to make foam cylinders.
Armed with their machine and a serious amount of balls, the team heads back to the course for the 90% Air Invitational.
I think that is our tree.
So the myth is that a tree is 90% air, which theoretically gives you a 9 out of 10 chance of shooting through it and making it through.
That's the theory, and to test it out, they're going to start with a tree-free control, like all good science golfers do.
We want to see how the tree affects the distance of the ball. So we're going to shoot 100 balls without a tree in the way and 100 balls with the tree in the way and see how far they go.
Fire at will. 3, 2, 1.
Perfect drive. You're on the green.
Not missing a single shot, Grant's machine skips years of aggravation trying to perfect the complexities of the backswing, downswing, and follow-through.
Last ball, 100.
All right. Your cannon's shooting like a real golfer.
A little hook to the left.
A little slice to the right.
Their control test is complete. Without the tree impeding their flight, most of the yellow balls landed 500 feet away. Now to see how far they go with the tree in the way. This time, they're using pink balls.
So for this myth, which is that the tree is 90% air, what we'll be looking for is 90 of the pink balls will be at the same distance as the yellow balls.
But there's a twist. Having assessed his competition from the sidelines, Tori is also going to pit himself against Grant's robot using blue balls. So, what are his chances?
Come on, it's Grant's robot. It's got consistency. He could make that exact. I mean, I don't really think that Tori has a chance.
There's only one way to find out.
Here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
It's man against machine in the ultimate golfing challenge. Each are firing 100 balls into the tree, but how many will sail clean through? Will it be the 90% that this myth needs?
That's 100 balls. Test complete. Oh my God.
Now to tally up who won, Tori, the machine, or the tree. By counting the pink and blue balls that made it into the same range as the yellow, they can calculate the percentage that were unimpeded by the tree.
27, so.
27 balls made it through the tree.
So 27%?
24% on the pink.
Wow.
So that's about a quarter of the balls made it through. That's not 90% air right there.
No, it's not.
With such a low percentage of balls making it through the tree, for proponents of the myth, Carrie's got some bad news.
Now, the myth says that the tree's 90% air. That should be 90% of the balls. That was only 25% of the balls. That means this myth is busted.
Hate to say it, but I beat the machine.
He did.
You beat the machine.
You beat the machine. You're better than a robot.
Adam and Jamie are testing the myth that a blind person can drive a vehicle without crashing if they're told where to go by a sighted person. All you need is a system.
System, huh? Look, you grab me by the waist. If you want me to turn right, you squeeze on the right.
You're doing good.
Having already taken this theory for a test drive, they set a new standard in reckless driving. Now, they're shifting it into high gear.
We realize that's not enough. We need an actual blind person behind the wheel of the car. And more than that, we need to raise the stakes. A closed course isn't good enough. We need city streets.
Safely away from inhabited neighborhoods, the site for their trial is an abandoned military base. If this once thriving community feels spine-chillingly familiar, it is. Carrie, Tori, and Grant use the derelict streets of Cypress Knolls to test the cost of road rage.
Where did those rats go? Where did you go?
This location is amazing. They are residential streets and they're totally abandoned, and I gotta tell you, it's creepy as heck. It really is post-apocalyptic, and I'm expecting a zombie horde to come crawling out of a basement at any moment.
Nice view, just like home.
Not only have they found the ideal location, but also the ideal driver, Jerry.
Jamie, howdy.
Glad to meet you.
Hey, man, good to meet you.
So you're here to do a little driving for us, I understand.
I certainly am.
Well, there are different kinds of blindness. There's legally blind as per the definition, and then there's can't see a darn thing blind. What are you?
No light, no nothing.
That's perfect. Are you ready to drive?
Hoo-yah!
Jerry is one gutsy guy, and he needs to be, because his route through the burbs is full of twists and turns.
We start out with a nice straightaway, easing into a little bit of a curve. Then a hard right-hand turn. And an obstacle just like yesterday. But we're not done. One more right-hand turn before we get home, and we've got to finish off by parking in the driveway. That's our course.
Of course, with a real blind man at the wheel, Jamie's getting nervous.
We've got two issues to deal with. One is the actual navigating, and the other is whether he's gonna go crazy with a car.
Will our driving duo make it safely home or end up in someone's front yard?
It's like it's the blind leading the bald now, isn't it?
Yeah, there we
very
go.
funny.
You have fun now.
Up next, we have a real shocker of a myth.
That's right. This one involves thunderbolts and lightning. Very, very frightening. Now, the myth is that if you're playing a round of golf in a thunderstorm and you're wearing metal cleats, you're more likely to get hit by lightning.
We know playing golf in a thunderstorm is seriously dangerous, but this myth is not about holding a club in the air or a golf umbrella. That's obviously a bad idea. This is about whether the metal cleats in the bottom of your shoes actually attract the lightning.
This myth isn't out of thin air. Golfers are sometimes struck by lightning because it's attracted to their highly conductive metal clubs. But could metal cleats on their shoes also be enough to attract a bolt from the blue?
All right, well, this myth is a little problematic. First of all, not many lightning storms this time of year. And secondly, it's just too dangerous to film in one.
Yeah, and the chances are the camera crew would be the first to get hit, and we don't want that to happen, do we?
Agreed. So to keep all of us safe, let's build two ballistic gel dummies with the same electrical resistance as a person. We'll put regular plastic cleats on one and metal cleats on the other and see which gets hit by lightning.
All right, well, for the lightning, we should go to an electric company that has a test facility. This way we have a controlled environment. We can put our ballistic golfers wherever we want them, and then we could see if we can fry them with one of these lightning bolts.
Good ideas.
To explore this high voltage theory, Tori gets started by modifying a pair of mannequins.
Ballistic gel golfer. Will lightning be attracted to your golf cleats?
For the later tests, it's crucial that these golfer stand-ins have the same electrical properties as the human body. And filling them with a special ballistics gel should do just that.
The ballistics gel is going to give us the same kind of resistance to electricity as the human body.
Okay. Yeah.
He's a unicorn.
When they're set, they head out to the links in search of lightning. The PG&E Technology Center is one of the MythBusters' favorite playing grounds. But even though from the outside it looks like a giant golf ball, there's not a fairway to be found. First up, Carrie gets the lightning lowdown.
How does this simulate lightning?
This uses a generator back in the shed back there and creates very, very high voltage electricity that comes through a ball over there and it goes to a ground.
Because lightning is no laughing matter, here's an important safety message.
Even our crews who are specially trained to work in extremely hazardous conditions know that when the lightning's coming, they need to seek shelter immediately, and everybody else should do the same thing.
This is our lightning source, so we need to set up our golfers equidistant from this source.
And then we dress our golfer dummies, one with plastic cleats, one with metal cleats, and see where the lightning strikes.
This is gonna be fun.
First, they need to lay out some groundwork.
So what we're trying to do here is simulate a golf course. That's why we have this. It's a copper plane, and we have a clamp. We're gonna connect the clamp to the copper plane, and that's gonna be connected to the ground of the facility. And that will give us that electrical earth simulation that we need to conduct this test.
Then, because there's nothing like the feel of fresh green turf underfoot, they lay out some sod.
It's a golf course. Sweet.
Next,
You guys got any power around here?
Tori removes the tops of the dummies' heads and soles of their feet, so when the lightning strikes, it will have a clear path to the ground. Time to get kitted up in appropriate attire.
We want to give this myth the best possible chance of working. So we have found some leather-soled shoes with metal cleats. It's going to give us a best conduction path. Now, to be a really good comparison, we have our modern rubber-soled shoes with plastic cleats.
And all laced up, they're ready to hit the green.
Wow.
All right.
That's a well-attired golfer.
Yeah, you know, I've never seen a golfer with just golf shoes. That would freak me out.
Finally, they place both golfers the exact same distance from the lightning source.
And this guy is at 46.5.
Yeah!
Great.
Perfect's good enough for me.
Oh no, it's starting to rain. Who will be struck out of the game first? Can a totally blind person drive a car without getting into a wreck? The theory is yes, if they do it as a two-man team with a sighted person navigating. And right here, right now, it's time to put that theory to the test.
Well, Jamie is just about to get in the back seat while he lets Jerry control everything to do with the car. Jerry's 100% blind, and that means the stakes here are pretty high. And if I had to make a prediction, I think there might be some curbage on this trip.
Well, with those words of wisdom, it's go time.
Jamie and Jerry, are you guys ready to go?
Ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, we're all set.
Okay, we'll wait for you. On your mark, go ahead.
I just let the brake go and see we'll start to roll. Cool, that's perfect.
Jamie's strategy is to start off nice and easy.
That's perfect. I think the trick here is going to be to work incrementally. We're going to start slow and gradually build up from there. Right? Perfect.
We've got an actual blind person driving a car. You don't see that every day.
Oh no, we're coming.
Obeying all the rules of the road, other than having a completely blind person at the wheel, they come to a 90-degree turn.
Okay, cool. A hard right. Straighten it out.
And with that nailed, Jamie utters the words the insurance company doesn't want to hear.
Give it a little gas.
That's right, Jamie gets Jerry to put his foot down.
More gas. That looks good. Okay. It's a good speed.
Wow, he's going about 20 miles an hour now. This is for real, man.
A little more gas.
Traveling over the limit in a residential area. Jerry is officially speeding.
35 miles an hour.
He even clears the obstacle without breaking a sweat. Jerry's final test requirement could be the toughest.
Now comes the last obstacle, parking.
Start to brake. Now turn hard left.
But it looks like Jerry will successfully avoid traffic school.
And stop. You made it. No injuries, no impacts, no nothing.
That was fantastic.
Yo.
Jerry, shake my hand.
Yo.
You are a natural.
Yo. Had a good guide.
You know, I think that Jerry was better than either of us because he has no preconceptions about how he wants to drive.
Yeah, he followed my instructions exactly, and it was a piece of cake.
Jerry's ability to drive is astounding. I wouldn't have known he was blind watching him drive around our course. That was amazing.
So what was the experience like from Jerry's perspective?
I found it very easy to follow Jamie's instructions.
Coming up to a stop.
He was very calm, very deliberate, and it was easy to just meld into it and do what he told me.
So where do the guys park this blind driving myth?
Based on what I'm seeing at this point, the scene in the movie is totally plausible, with the one small caveat that this was something that we planned out. If you're doing it like in city traffic and impromptu, it might be a little different.
But watch this space, because there's a dangerous twist in the tale for this myth. Would Jerry be as in control if Jamie wasn't?
Jerry, what do you say? You willing to let a drunk Jamie guide you while driving?
Sure, as long as I get a shot at that bottle after we're all over.
That's the spirit.
In this Thunderdome, the team set up 2 ballistics dummies equidistant from a high-voltage source. The only difference is one is wearing shoes with metal cleats, the other plastic. So what are they looking for?
To confirm this myth, we need to see a definite trend of lightning discharging into the dummy with the metal cleats.
And with the dummies sitting pretty, it's time to unleash the lightning.
All right, you guys, this is it. 10 strikes. Got 2 identical dummies. One has metal cleats, the other has plastic.
All right, fire it up.
One on plastic. 2 plastic, 1 metal.
The guys are unleashing 10 bolts from the blue and keeping a tally of who gets hit, the metal cleat golfer or his plastic-preferring counterpart.
2 on the metal, 4 on the plastic.
And after a shocking few minutes, the results are in.
6 on the plastic, 4 on the metal.
So for our first test, we had 2 identical ballistics gel dummies at equal distances from our high voltage source. What we saw was a fairly equal distribution of lightning strikes between the 2, which indicates that there's no difference having the metal cleats.
So that means metal cleats do not attract lightning. This myth is busted.
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 But the team isn't finished with the lightning cleats theory just yet.
Next test, we're gonna load up our golfer with the metal cleats with more metal. We're gonna have chains, watches, keys, change, whatever, and see if that attracts more lightning strikes.
To make sure the metal makes contact with the ballistics gel, Tori drills holes in the dummy's fiberglass shell. Will all the extra bling attract some extra zing?
Did you take your retainer out?
Their punk rock golfer sustains consecutive hits until this time 8 strikes went to the heavy metal golfer, but still 2 hit his plastic playing partner.
I actually thought this one was heading towards confirmed, but then one of the strikes came down and hit the guy with the plastic cleats, which means this one is still busted.
So in bad weather, wearing metal spikes won't increase the chance of lightning strikes. But what about holding a club?
If you notice, during your backswing, you actually become a lightning rod. So what I'm gonna do is attach this golf club to that golfer, and we're gonna find out if you are crazy enough to play during a storm, what might happen. What a shocker!
In less than a second, a single strike of lightning can heat the air to 60,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Our guy is literally melting under the pressure.
Well, maybe that's why you're not supposed to play golf in a lightning storm.
But you gotta hand it to him. He never loses his grip.
Okay, our last myth has to do with gophers, explosions, and putting.
You're talking about the final scene in Caddyshack. I love that movie.
Precisely, the American classic. Let me set the scene for you. It's my favorite part. Okay, the greenskeeper's going mad trying to catch a gopher he just can't get. So he decides he's going to exterminate him with C4. He puts C4 down each of the gopher holes and gets ready to blow him to smithereens.
But before he pushes the button, 50 yards away, there's a golfer trying to make the winning putt. He hits the ball, but it catches just on the edge of the cup.
And then the groundskeeper sets off the explosions with big bursts of fire, destroys half the golf course, and sinks the winning putt.
All right, so we need to find out if C4 causes that much damage, and if it does, is the shock wave strong enough to knock the ball into the cup?
Exactly.
Okay, let's get some explosives and head back to Pebble Beach.
You know what, actually, your golf swing already destroyed half of their golf course, so they're actually not letting us come back. So we're gonna have to find another place to do the experiment. Sorry, man. Maybe learn how to play golf.
It's a great gopher golf scene where you get 2 myths for the price of 1. First, will C4 really explode into great balls of fire? And second, will the resulting shockwave be enough to knock a teetering ball into the hole? As a golf course substitute, the team has found a field perfect for their experiments.
Here's our golf course.
Not for long. Yeah.
Sweet. We're at Riversdale Ranch. It's a huge field. It kind of looks like a golf course. There's tons of gopher holes, and they've agreed to let us blow it up with C4. How great is that?
Gopher hole.
Sure enough, the ground is riddled with the telltale signs of gophers.
Oh my God, this thing had so many gophers.
This field is perfect.
But don't worry, animal lovers, this is a gopher ghost town.
This is an area where gophers have already been exterminated, which means there are no little creatures running around and we're not going to do any damage. This is just, you know, a little homemade gopher golf course.
Before they explore movie land,
This is going to be a whole lot of fun, huh?
as curious as bright-eyed rodents, the team wheels out a gadget used by real-life professional exterminators.
Now, professional exterminators have a number of tools at their disposal. They have chemicals that they can use, they have traps, and then they have the Rodex 5000.
Spraying an explosive mixture of oxygen and propane, the Rodex 5000 sends a shudder through gophers across the land.
Okay, you want to play a rough little golfer?
Tori inserts the nozzle of the rodent ritter at someone's former front door. But before they fire it up, Grant has a serious safety warning.
It's good that we're all wearing pants. As they say, if the explosion comes back around you, it can blow the dirt right up your shorts.
All right, stand back it is.
All right, gassing up.
The team carefully releases the combustible concoction into the burrow.
Okay, you're at a minute.
A lot of gas.
And after letting it build up within the network of tunnels below, it's time for ignition.
Okay, that's 2.
Valve closed.
This is Golf Gopher Test Commercial Gopher Exterminator in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah! Wow! Dude, look at how much damage we did!
Look at it, went all the way down.
It followed the whole tunnel. That's awesome!
Awesome, unless you're a gopher. But enough of real life. We've got 2 myths from the movie to bust.
For this golf myth, we have 2 things to test. They come from the last scene in Caddyshack, which is an American icon, if you ask me. First of all, can C4 create the kind of explosions that they have happening in that last golf scene? And secondly, can the ground shake enough to drop that golf ball teetering on the edge of the hole into the hole?
So 50 yards that way.
Yep.
All right.
From closely watching the movie, they've calculated that it was about 50 yards from the explosive's detonation point to the golf ball.
50, right there.
So they make a hole the same distance away and teeter a ball right on the lip.
Nobody breathe.
And that just leaves the explosives. Oh, look who's just blown in. Retired FBI agent Frank Doyle.
Well, hello. How are ya?
Good. Did you bring us the good stuff?
I brought the really good stuff for today.
Channeling a reach the end of his tether greenkeeper, Frank delicately places balls of C4 inside a series of gopher holes. And he's placing so much that Grant's very confident.
Seeing the amount of C4 that we have out in this field, I think it's probably a 50-50 chance of the ball not going in the cup, but actually flying over the cup and across the field. That's a lot of C4 out there. I'm expecting a big boom.
But will it be a big fiery boom? And will it sink the putt?
Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole!
Here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
Oh my God!
That was awesome!
The boom sure was a blast, but part one of the myth is already up in smoke.
The main difference between the explosion that we saw with real C4 in real gopher holes and what you see in the movie is an element of fire. And what we saw is just a blast of dirt going straight up.
In other words, the movie Fireball was a fake. But what about the blast's power? Well, at Gopher Ground Zero, things are looking promising.
Hey, look at the size of these holes.
I think this might be actually a very effective gopher extermination method.
This is an effective golf course extermination method. Look at
no
that.
kidding, man.
There's a crater.
It's created a gopher graveyard crater at the blast site. But what's happened on the green?
Great explosion.
Oh, it didn't go in the hole.
You know what? That's not surprising. I mean, that was a cool explosion, but the shockwave wasn't enough to knock it in.
I really thought it would.
So where does that leave their Caddyshack recreation?
So that's negative on the golf ball, negative on the explosion.
So this one's busted.
Busted.
But as in Hollywood, if at first you fail, then just fake it.
Any way you look at this one, it's busted, but we're not done yet. We want to replicate the explosions that they had in Caddyshack. And Frank has got something special for us. Real special.
Yep, Frank has something guaranteed to get that Hollywood-inspired fireball. Gasoline.
Those varmints aren't gonna know what hit them.
He places the containers in a line all the way along a burrow. And with the stage set, the team can't wait to be entertained.
Da 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 3, 2, 1, boom, boom.
That's what you expect to see.
At last, they get their money's worth. So they may not have achieved what they set out to do, but just like in the movies, they've all learned a valuable lesson.
You know what? We showed that this one is totally busted, and we got a beautiful explosion at the same time.
And we showed how exciting golf can really be.
It is exciting without explosions.
Sure it
No,
is.
it's not.
Jamie and Adam have confirmed the movie myth that a blind person can drive a car, accident-free,
Now turn hard left.
if a sighted person prompts them.
You made it.
But now they have an even more intoxicating real-world tale to try.
So the story we have is that a blind man has actually been pulled over for driving a car, and the situation was that a friend of his got so drunk he asked the blind guy to drive for him.
This story heralds from Europe, where police saw a car traveling on the wrong side of the road. They discovered the driver was blind and being directed by his intoxicated buddy. Testing this drive from the headlines, Jamie is designated intoxicated navigator and is already flushed in the face and a little frisky.
He gets drunk not like anybody else I've ever met. His head gets red, he starts to giggle, but he doesn't say much. It's very peculiar.
Now, to make sure he is officially over the limit,
I know we're supposed to be doing this, but it doesn't feel right.
How much have you had to drink today, sir?
That much?
That much? We're gonna have to test him.
an on-the-spot sobriety test is required, beginning with a physical.
Finger to nose, left.
Then a breath test.
Keep going, keep going.
The evidence is irrefutable.
That's good.
The Heineman is drunk.
You're not allowed to drive.
Thank goodness.
The responsibility of driving home is up to blind man Jerry and his nerves of steel.
Okay, a little curb. the driveway.
The effects of imbibing alcohol include a decrease in reaction time and intellectual performance. So will Jamie's directions be as clear intoxicated as they were sober?
All I've got to do is say right and left or slower or faster. So I think Jerry's going to take us home quite nicely.
Follow car to drunk navigator. Follow car to drunk navigator.
Who are you calling drunk, over?
Well, you better be drunk for this test to work.
Are you ready?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, whenever you feel like going, we'll follow.
A common consequence of people being drunk is that they think they're funnier than they really are.
Laura.
Yes.
He knows better than to listen to me.
Another is that their perspective of events
Straighten out. Right.
can be very different to non-drinking observers.
Oh, I swear he is weaving a lot more around the road. It's like, whoa, 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 we got some curb action there.
Hard left.
Feelings of affection can also become magnified
Oh, you're so good.
and make others feel uncomfortable.
Right.
Drunk Jamie as a navigator made me a lot more nervous. He gave a lot of positive reinforcements, and it wasn't as useful.
Good little bit of left.
But what's important for this test is that drunk Jamie is making Jerry weave the road like he's the one who's been swigging bourbon. For the first time, driving instructor Derek has to help Jerry control the car.
The situation felt a little less in control, and twice Derek intervened. He grabbed the wheel once, and he also hit the brake once.
Hard right.
But the guys do manage to pull into the drive in one piece.
You got me home and I was drunk. Thank you, Jerry. You're my best friend.
Get your sweet pithy.
From where Adam was sitting, there was a very distinct difference between Jamie's navigation skills sober versus drunk.
You're weaving much more from right to left, right to left. There's a lot of delay in correction, and if I was a cop behind you, I would be pulling that car over thinking there's a drunk man behind the wheel.
I don't know which is worse, being blind or blind drunk.
So if you ever consider the blind driving method of getting somewhere, call a cab.
Hoo-yah!
Can we stop doing these drinking myths? I don't feel so good.
Okay, I'll do the heavy lifting in the wrap-up. I think you and I proved on the closed course that with a little practice, it is possible to drive while blindfolded as long as your instructions are competent.
And our blind guy that we got, Jerry, actually turned out to be a great driver.
He did, and that combined with the story we found of someone actually doing it, I'd say this one is totally confirmed.
It's illegal, but you can do it. It's confirmed.
You know what my favorite part of this whole story was? Was that after you got drunk, your instructions made Jerry drive as if he was drunk. I would have never called that.
I thought I did pretty well.
Yeah, but that's the whole point. You were actually drunk.